the syllabus forever. Easy, been on the syllabus forever. About that one. This is going to be replaced by Conquer, which they asked 0 ULAE last year. You can see that on the syllabus they asked 0 to 5 points on LAE. Last year they asked an ALAE question. This year they added a new article that covers ULAE, so you can expect probably 3 or so points on Conquer. So some of this stuff, I mean, it's not exact, definitely. And I don't know how much to take away from the historical point values, but pretty much one thing you definitely want to take away from is the fact that we know that White's work was shown are pretty important. And even if they're not specifically tested, at least we know that we can answer questions if we know those two articles. Okay, so we'll start out by talking about the statement of principles. For reserving. What I like to say is there's certain articles that are pretty short. Right? The statement of principles and the ASB 9 are really short articles. And when you read the statement of principles, this is covered again in Weiser, work with Sherman. So I like reading it once at the beginning, and then probably the weekend before, you should be able to read through both of these relatively quickly and say, yeah, I know this, this is covered here, and so forth. And so it's more of a going through to make sure that, yeah, I did catch this, I do know this, more than anything, as opposed to actually studying from this material. But some important pieces that we need to make sure we can walk away from in this article. We'll talk about this too in Weiser. We have some key dates we have to deal with. Dates get a slight bit confusing. We start talking about accounting, and we talk about our reserve as far as projecting our reserve. So first we have the accounting date, the date that defines the group of claims in which a liability may exist. And this is just a common accounting date's year-end. It's the annual statement. That's the accounting date. All transactions or all claims that occur through that point. The valuation date, though, is the date through which the transactions are included in the database. All right, so you can have an incurred loss. A loss could have occurred on December 30th, but it may not be reported or may not be recorded or so forth in the actual books as of December 31st. So valuation date has all transactions included for a given accounting or given dates. Our carried loss reserve, don't get confused with what the actual events. Okay? Carried loss reserve is financial, so it's in financial statements. It's accounting, it's management, it's whoever is in charge of booking that loss. It's claims on case reserves. Okay? What we're going to spend most of our time on in the next 2 days is the indicated loss reserve. And this is when we take the data and we come up with the actuarial estimate of the loss reserves, which could be far from carried reserves, depending on who books the reserves and how much they are going to take your opinion into consideration. And then we talk about, they talk about the actual reserving process. And we start with the reserve for known claims, claims that are reported to us, and are set up typically when a claim comes in and we have a case reserve set up. And this may be a formula reserve automatically when it comes in. There's usually some prescribed formula within a company, and that would be a loss comes in depending on if it has a BI or an auto. If it has a BI claim or just a PD claim, it may automatically be set up for $1,000. The claim department may have something that says within 1 month the adjuster has to make an evaluation of that claim that may be adjusted at a month and then again at 6 months or a year. Obviously, it's going to be reviewed before paid. Development is the change between valuation dates of the reserve values, and so if you look at claims that occurred prior to December 31st, 2007, as of December 31st, 2007, then you're going to get more development from incurred but not reported claims, or IBNR, as time progresses. So you'll look at it again at 12/31/2008, when it's 12 months more mature, to see what's developed, what we know, how the case reserves have changed because the claims personnel have reviewed claims and so forth. Reopened claims, just a